Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Alhamdulillah. We had a sudden emergency break there. Alhamdulillah. Before the break, we were just going through the clinical indication of this amazing polycrest of a remedy called Calcarea carbonica, calcium carbonate. This remedy helps regulate calcium in the body. Calcium is very important. It blends with other proteins and it has an important role in the efficient running of the body. And if there's a deficiency in this calcium or overabundance of calcium, you have issues. So this remedy, Calcarb, is very, very good for kind of bringing homeostasis and bringing balance to the calcium that we have in our body. And we have so much calcium in our body. Our bones have massive amounts of calcium inside. So a deficiency or too much can cause big issues. So we're going through the list of clinical issues it can help us. So we mentioned many, and now we're going to go towards things like hair fall. If you have hair fall, if ladies have hair fall specifically, especially after childbirth, that is a big indicator of this remedy. Also, rickets. When you have rickets, when you have this curvature in the legs, kind of bow-legged kind of appearance, it's very, very, very good for that as well. Alhamdulillah. Calcarea carbonica. Also spine curvature, when you have your spine's curved this way or that way, this remedy can help address that again by helping the calcium metabolism and balancing the calcium metabolism. It's very, very good for ankylosing and spondylosis, which is a curvature of the spine. Also for issues of dentition, especially children. When you have children who find it very difficult to have dentition, they have a lot of vomiting, they're always crying a lot, and their teeth come with great difficulty. They have high temperatures. So this remedy, Calcarea carbonica, can help with teething disorders, dentition complaints. So if you have a child who's got issue with dentition, this is a good remedy, especially if the child's kind of a bit plump. He's not thin, he's more on the plump side. He has a lot of sweats on his head, and he's quite irritable and he's quite stubborn, and he gets angry very quickly. If you have this kind of baby at home, then you may have a Calcarb baby at home, Calcarea carbonica. And they are angry babies, they get very angry. Even small babies get angry. If you don't give them the milk on time, they get so angry, they get red. So if you have this kind of baby, mashallah, you may have a Calcarb baby, and this remedy can help with so much things, mashallah. Even childhood eczema, I mentioned tinea capitis, it's good for eczema as well, and so much more. So good for dentition complaints like vomiting, diarrhea, irritability, slow teething, and it's a very good remedy for developmental disorders. If your child is not developing properly, may Allah keep us safe from having children with developmental disorders. It's a very, very big test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this remedy is a good remedy. Good remedy for eczema as well, infant eczema. And for children who get a lot of colds and coughs, and they have antibiotics after antibiotics upon antibiotics. And you know the importance of having a good, healthy gut microbiome, having good, gut bacteria, and that's all taken away by antibiotics, because they are indiscriminate. They to get rid of good and bad bacteria. And I mentioned again, I've mentioned in the past, I'll mention now that every child should be taking good gut bacteria to make sure that gut microbiome is optimum levels. Number one. Number two, fish oils, very, very important for all children. So remedy is very good for night terrors. Some children who wake up at night time so scared, this remedy takes away the night terrors. Also for developmental delays and hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus, when you have water on the brain, can be very dangerous. That's normally they use surgery, but this remedy can also assist hydrocephalus, water on the brain. This remedy can help with that. It's very good for people who have a lot of water on the body. Dyspepsia is a good remedy for indigestion. If you have indigestion issues, always burping all the time, a lot of gas in your stomach, calcium carbonate can help with the dyspepsia, indigestion. A very good remedy for worms, so whether it's tapeworms or pinworms or other worms, it can help with worms as well, this remedy. And also, mashallah, good remedy for milk allergy. Nowadays, so many children have allergy to milk, cow's milk. They have the milk and they have projectile vomiting. This remedy can stop that. Also, changing the milk to another formula can help as well. So Gallstones is good for gallstones, is good for umbilical hernia. People think they need to have surgery. This remedy can help with umbilical hernia, even inguinal hernia. Hernia is when your diaphragm kind of, the lining comes up. That's your inguinal. And then you have another one further down. So umbilical hernia is here, and then you have inguinal near your groin. It can help with that as well. Also good for warts. If you have lots of warts, this remedy can help with the warts. It can help with eczema capitis, obviously, which means eczema of the head. And if you have varicose veins or profuse sweating, this remedy can help. Let's move on to the symptoms of the mind, because the mind symptoms are always very important. Number one, it's a remedy which is good for OCD people who have OCDs, and their OCDs have, the basic of the OCD is they are scared of getting germs which may cause them to have contagious diseases. So they're very scared of, they have a fear of contagion. They be careful of germs. Why? Because they may catch diseases. If they have this OCD level, then this remedy can help them. Good for people who have anxieties of the future, of the past, of the present. Anybody who's got anxieties and he fits the picture of this fat, fair, flabby patient remedy picture, they can benefit from this OCD remedy. For people who've got anxiety about the future, present, and even past, and about health. So if they have issues, anxieties about the future, present, and past health, then this remedy can help them. They have a lot of anxiety which is attended with restlessness. They can't keep still, they have to move around. They have palpitation, especially so at night time. It's good to, it's used to treat fears where a person is thinking that something bad is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen, it's going to happen now, it's going to happen tomorrow. When they have these thoughts of something bad, a sense of foreboding, when they have this sense of foreboding, this remedy can help with that. And they think that they're going to lose their reason. They have this fear, an absurd fear, that they're going to become, insane. They're going to lose their ability to be reasonable, and so hence become insane. So fear of being insane. And they have a fear of death. They have a massive fear of monsters. A lot of small children are scared of monsters. They won't go upstairs unless somebody goes with them, and they'll have the light on all the time. This is a calc-carb baby. So also good for mental dullness and weakness, especially when you're studying, you feel heaviness in your head, mental weakness, dullness. You can't concentrate, very good remedy. Good for confusion of the mind, difficult comprehension, difficult thinking, and also for sleeplessness. You can't sleep properly because you have so much thoughts in your head. This is a good remedy for that. It's good for people who are obstinate, self-willed, irritable, especially children. Children who are very, very restless, stubborn, get easily offended, and they cry easily at the smallest trifles. For them, a 30C dose every night will help so much. Maybe 5 nights, 6 nights, 7 nights, it will really help. Number 2, for nasal complaints, issues of the nose. People need this remedy, catch a cold very easily. Their nasal mucous membranes swell, and they have a lot of discharge which is thick and yellow and offensive, and sometimes you even may have blood in the discharge. And they'll have, or otherwise, if it's not yellow, it'll just be profuse, clear discharge. And it's worse at night time, and sometimes they'll have polyps in the nose that stop them breathing at night time. Sleep apnea, they can't breathe properly. And it's very good for nasal polyps and frequent nose bleeds. And I mentioned earlier on, it's a good remedy for people who lose their sense of smell. Number 3, it's a good remedy for female disorders. It's one of the key remedies for uterine fibroids. If you have uterine fibroids, this is an amazing remedy, especially if you're a lady who has a lot of water in the body, has a lot of swelling, and you fit the picture of calcaria carbonica. It's good for painful periods, dysmenorrhea, metrorrhagia, heavy periods, especially where you are very anxious and restless. It's very, very good for that. And also, hair loss after childbirth, this is one of the main indicators of this remedy. Moving on to sore throat and tonsillitis and enlarged adenoids. These 3 things, remember I mentioned that it's very good for polyps, so tonsils, adenoids, and even sore throat, where the mucous membranes of the nose and the throat swell. So good for treating a chronic sore throat. If you've had a sore throat for a long time and nothing's helping, maybe you can try calcaria carbonica, this homeopathic remedy, where the swelling of the palate, the uvula, the tonsil, the hose, the whole, ear, nose, throat tract is swollen. So also pain in the throat which goes to the ears, tickling, roughness, scratchiness, and the itching in the throat. This is very good, and it's good for chronic tonsillitis. If you had, tonsillitis, or your child is, breathing all the time through his mouth, then the chances are that they have tonsillitis. And then number 5, very good for thyroid disorders, hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, goiter, where your whole thyroid gland actually swells and you can see this, enlargement near your throat area. This Calcarea carbonica can help with all these things, especially if you have, the symptoms of hypothyroid, hair loss, sluggishness, feeling tired, sleepy all the time, very, very chilly. This is very, very good for this. Debility and heavy menses. Number 6, bone and joint complaints. This is made from calcium carbonate. Our bones are made to a large degree from calcium carbonate as well, and this remedy helps metabolize that and balance that. So good for treating diseases of the bone and joints. Bones and joints. It's the leading homeopathic medicine to treat conditions like rickets, bone decay, osteoporosis, osteomalcia, weakening of the bones, weak ankles, knee joint pain, osteoarthritis, and the curvature of the spine. Very good remedy for all these issues. You can take it in the 12x potency 3 times daily, and it will only strengthen the bones. Especially, as I mentioned before, if you are like the picture of the calcarb person. Now, good for children, infants and children, especially children who have issues with dentition like vomiting, diarrhea, being irritable, slow teething, developmental disorders where they're missing the milestones or the lagging behind. It can just speed up the whole developmental department. Learning to walk and talk, night terrors, obesity in infants, all these things. Enlarged tonsils, tendency to take cold all the time, and slow development of bones. This remedy can do so much work in the 30C potency for children. Number 8, good for intestinal troubles. A lot of issues of stomach issues like dyspepsia, heartburn, belching, all this stuff to do with the stomach and indigestion. Calcarea carbonica can help heal. Also stools, if your stools are very difficult to pass initially and then become very soft afterwards, this is a good indication of this remedy. Diarrhea and vomiting from milk. If you are kind of intolerant to milk, this is a good remedy to help with that, and very good for constipation. Itching in the anal area, in the rectum area, and I mentioned before, it's very good for worms, tapeworms, tin worms, all kind of worms. If you look at the child's stool, you may see small, half a centimeter, 1 centimeter long worms moving around. This is a good remedy to deal with that. Number 9, skin issues. Very good for skin issues, very good for tinea capitis. I mentioned before, fungal infection of the head, capitis meaning head, tinea meaning fungal infection. You'll see patients with small, round, discoid-like eczema. If you see eczema which is round, it's tinea. Ringworm infections, which kind of scabs over, especially on the head and these areas. It's very, very good for that. They get covered with a layer of crust and they smell very foul. Sometimes at the back of the head, sometimes over the whole head, and they can erupt if you pick at them. Again, barber's itch, very good for that as well. They call it itching in the groin area for males. Again, fungal infection, this remedy can help a lot. So this remedy, Calcarea carbonica, is a very good remedy, mashallah. Very good remedy, and it can help with many, symptoms. But the key takeaway point is that the person has to be this kind of physical makeup. He has to be quite heavy, quite sluggish, quite cautious. He's not the adventurous, go-getting kind of person. He's a stay-at-home, security-seeking person who doesn't like to take risks. He likes to stay at home. His idea of a good time is just be at home and watch some, TV. That's the kind of person who is a calcarb person. Remember, fat, fair, flabby, and 40. Very cautious, very methodical. They're not like the story of the hare and the tortoise. So calcarb is the tortoise. He'll do it slowly. And the biggest thing with this person, his security is his daily routine. She doesn't like change. They don't like change. They like things to be exactly as they are. You'll have other people who are like, like tornadoes and hurricanes, just bzz, everything going around. They don't care where they put things. This person is methodical. They want things in their place. They want to have things on time, and any change will frighten them. And many people get ill after kind of a shock that kind of turns their life around. They get cancers, they get other autoimmune disorders. A lot of illnesses come because of shock. Your regular, allopathic medicine doesn't look at this, doesn't look at illnesses. They look at it from the point of Louis Pasteur's medical theory, which is the microbe. Many illnesses are caused by shock, physical shock, mental shock, somebody dying and you having a shock, your loved one is dying, losing money, or seeing something that terrifies you. Anything that shocks the body can mess the balance of the body's health and bring forth symptoms depending where your weakness is. It may be symptoms of the mind, maybe symptoms of the skin, maybe symptoms of one particular system in your body, cardiovascular, maybe endocrine, maybe musculoskeletal. It could be anything at all, but shocks can cause most illnesses are caused by shock, to be frank with you. So this remedy, mashallah, also is very good for headaches. Headaches which are very, very painful, stupefying, benumbing, and sometimes you can get headaches if you had a cold and you blocked the coryza from coming down. You've taken something which blocks the coryza from coming out of your nose. That will give you headaches due to sinus issues. Calcarea carbonica is very, very good for that. It's also good for people who feel weak. It's a big remedy for weakness of the joints, especially if your joints easily you sprain the joints very easily, especially the ankle joints or the wrist joints. Then this remedy, Calcarea carbonica, can help strengthen that. And the personality, as I mentioned before, it's very important that you understand the personality. The personality of this person is that they are very stubborn. Calcarea carbonic people are very, very stubborn. You see this in the babies. They are so stubborn. If they don't get what they want, they just start crying and having tantrums and fits. And the adult will be the same. You say something to them and they don't want to consider it. They only want what they want. So they are very, very stubborn. And they're very fearful as well. They have a lot of fears. Fear of death, fear of metaphysical things. They're always talking about the next life, talking about Jannat, Jahannam, angels, and they have a, mashallah, an inclination towards the metaphysical things. They love to have like bread. They love to have cheese. Bread and cheese is their favorite. They love bread, cheese. They love dairy, milk, eggs, and cheese. This is what they like. And they're full of congestion. Their nose is congested. Their throat is congested. Their chest is congested. Their body is indeed congested. So any person who has these symptoms will benefit from this remedy. Now, what dose should you take this Calcarea carbonica? It's known as a polycrest remedy because it has so much symptoms. It can help so many people. The remedy I normally suggest is the 30C. 30C every single night for a few weeks will help so much. And as with all homeopathic medicine, you have to be very careful of how you take it, where you store it. You have to be very careful that it's not next to mobile phones, at least a meter away, not next to DECT phones or microwaves, because the radio waves destroy the homeopathic medicine because they're already diluted. You can't have mint with homeopathic medicine. You can't have coffee. You can't put it in bright lights. So you have to be very careful of how you store homeopathic remedies. And you can't touch them, of course. So you have to use the lid of the bottle and you put it under your tongue. You don't have water. You don't drink water on top. Like normally you'll have water to swallow the remedy. This remedy is absorbed. Homeopathic remedies are absorbed generally from the mucous membranes of the mouth. So when they touch the mucous membranes, the medicinal substance on the remedy is absorbed and affects the body. And the dose of homeopathic medicine is also, whether you take the whole bottle, is still one dose. It's the the repetition that affects a person more than the quantity. So just to recap, ये जो आज जिसका हमने तस्करा किया, होम्योपैथिक दवाई कलकरिया कार्बोनिका बहुत ही अच्छी दवाई है हड्डियों के लिए, जोड़ों के दर्दों के लिए, उन लोगों के लिए जिनके जिस्म के अंदर बहुत मोटापन होता है, پانی زیادہ ہوتا ہے، سر سے پسینہ زیادہ آتا ہے، ان کو ٹھنڈ اور نزلہ اور زکام زیادہ لگتا ہے، ان کے دماغ کے اندر بہت یعنی حادثات اور خوف ہوتا رہتا ہے کہ بھائی یہ کچھ ہونے والا ہے، میں بیمار ہونے والا ہوں یا میں بیمار ہونے والی ہوں، ان کے اندر ڈر بہت رہتا ہے، ناک سے خون بھی زیادہ آ سکتا ہے، کمر کی تکلیف کے لیے، جوڑوں کے درد کے لیے، پھٹوں کے درد کے لیے، اگر کوئی تھائرائڈ ڈس آرڈر ہو، چاہے ہائپر ہو یا نارملی ہائپو یعنی کم تھائروکسین بنتی ہے اپنے تھائرائڈ گلینڈ سے، اس کے لیے بہت ہی مفید رہتا ہے۔ یہ دوائی عورتوں کی جو بیماریاں ہوتی ہیں اسپیشلی یوٹرائن فائبرائڈز جو ہوتے ہیں نا، یوٹرس کے اندر یعنی بڑے بڑے جو گدود ہوتے ہیں، تو ان کے لیے، بلکہ ہر قسم کے گدود کے لیے، چاہے ناک کے اندر ہو، چاہے ٹونسلز ہو، اپنے گل جس کو ہم کہتے ہیں گلے وہاں ہو، چاہے اور جگہ ہو، جہاں بھی ہو گدود ہو، تو ان کے لیے، ان کو ہٹانے کے لیے، ان کو کم کرنے کے لیے یہ جو دوائی جس کا نام ہے کھلکھیری کاربونیکا بہت ہی مفید ہے، بہت ہی ایفیکٹو ہے، بہت اچھی دوائی ہے، اس سے بہت فائدہ ہوتا ہے ان بچوں کے لیے جن کو بار بار نزلہ زکام ٹھنڈ ہوتی رہتی ہے، ہر 2-3 ہفتے کے بعد نزلہ زکام ٹھنڈ ہمت نہیں ہوتی ہے، بیچارے گھر کے اندر پڑے رہتے ہیں کمزوری کی وجہ سے، تو ان کو اگر آپ نے یہ دوائی دی 30C پوٹنسی کے اندر میں بھی 1-2 ہفتے کے لیے، 3-4 ہفتے کے لیے ہر رات، تو ان کو انشاءاللہ یہ جتنے بھی امکانات ہیں بیماریوں کے، تو یہ امکانات ختم ہو جائیں گے انشاءاللہ، ان کی جو سسیپٹیبلٹی ہے وہ چلی جائے گی، اور ان کے جو ہیلتھ کے لیول ہیں وہ بڑھ جائیں گے۔ ہیلتھ کے لیول جو ہوتے ہیں نیچے ہوتے ہیں، اوپر ہوتے ہیں، نیچے ہوتے ہیں، اوپر ہوتے ہیں، تو ہم یہی چاہتے ہیں کہ ہیلتھ کے لیول اوپر ہی ہوتے جائیں، آپ کی جو امیونٹی وہ بڑھتی جائے، کم نہ ہو، تو اس دوائی سے لیکن یہ دوائی ان لوگوں کے لیے بہت مفید ہوتی ہے جن کے جسم کے اندر یعنی موٹاپن زیادہ ہوتا ہے، سر سے پسینہ زیادہ آتا ہے، ان کو یہ انڈے ہوتے ہیں جو، اور یہ جو یعنی کہ دودھ وغیرہ ہوتا ہے، ان کو یہ پسند ہے۔ بچوں کے لیے، جو چھوٹے بچے ہوتے ہیں، جب ان کی ٹیتھنگ دانت آتے ہیں، تو دانت کے آنے کے اندر ان کو بہت تکلیف ہوتی ہے، ڈائریا ہوتا ہے، اسہال ہوتا ہے، بہت زیادہ بیمار رہتے ہیں بیچارے، اور ان کے لیے ٹیتھنگ بہت مشکل ہوتی ہے، ان کے مائل سٹونز بھی بہت مشکل سے ان کو یعنی کہ دے فائنڈ دی میٹنگ دی مائل سٹونز ویری ڈیفیکلٹ، ڈیولپمنٹل بات کرنا، آگے پیچھے ہلنا، جتنے بھی جو ڈیولپمنٹل مائل سٹون ہوتے ہیں، تو اگر کسی کا بچہ ان کے اندر اس مائل سٹون کے پہنچنے تک کمزور ہے، تو اس دوائی سے ان کو انشاءاللہ اس کے اندر فائدہ ہی ہوگا۔ ہاں، باقی ہڈیوں کے لیے جو گھٹنے کے درد ہوتا ہے اس کو ہٹانے کے لیے، آسٹیو آرتھرائٹس کے لیے یہ بہت ہی مفید دوائی ہے، اور ذہن کے لیے، جن لوگوں کے اندر ذہن کے اندر خطرات ہوتے ہیں، ڈر ہوتے ہیں، تو اس کے لیے بھی بہت مفید ہے، عورتوں کی بیماریوں کے لیے بہت مفید ہے، ناک کے گدود کے لیے، اور بھی بہت چیزوں کے لیے فائدہ مند ہے انشاءاللہ۔ I hope you've benefited today from this remedy Khalkheri Carbonica. Next week we'll go to another one inshallah. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.